Hey, everybody. Welcome back again today with Damon Pistolka, Andrew Cross. And with us today, we got Joseph Stepke on the Exit Your Way Business Roundtable. Say hello, Joseph.
How you doing? Can I say it now? Do you mind if I do the quick commercial really quick?
You do the quick commercial right now.
All right. It's Joe Stepke, Joe the finance guy. I just want to make sure all the opinions and thoughts that I have do not express anything or have anything to do with the company that I work for. I just wanted to put that out, which the company I work for is Acima Credit. But hey, please, if you need anything, go to Joe the finance guy.
Yeah. That's funny. Andrew just dropped off. We got him back now. Andrew, the wind must have blown the Wi-Fi away there, Andrew. So we're back. So today we're going to talk with Joe a little bit about in-store financing options, correct?
Correct.
All right.
It's actually called in-store payment options.
There you go.
We're more of a tertiary. We used to be called tertiary financing.
Yeah.
So you have traditional. You also have maybe a secondary, and traditional would be something like maybe a regular bank like Wells Fargo or something along those lines. Then you have, secondaries, almost like a Synchrony maybe. Mm-hmm. And then, you have the lease to own, the no credit needed type payment plans for customers. And believe it or not, and you've seen some of the posts that I've done, 69% of Americans out there don't even have $1,000 in their savings account for an emergency situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about emergency situation like I need rims right away. That's not what I mean by emergency situation. However, probably some of my merchant retailers would say, oh, wait, well, we get into emergency situations where they need rims right away.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about it's summertime and usually refrigerators break down. Freezers, tires, and sometimes people don't have that type of money to go out and buy a fridge right then and there. And that's something that they may need, or 4 new tires.
Yeah.
Or even a new tire. And with our option, it comes into play and it makes it really easy for a customer to get what they need.
Yeah.
It's the credit that they deserve without it being credit.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. Let's back up a little bit here. Let's talk about you. You're a military guy. First of all, you were on our military panel the other day when we were talking about the value the veterans bring to business on our Thursday deal. So tell us a little. You were a military policeman, if I remember right, correct?
Correct. That was my college.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great. And I went in right after I got out of high school. I was 17 still. Had to get my mother's permission to join, the delayed entry program.
Yeah.
And I went in 1989, January of 89. Yeah. I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama. Went there for basic training, AIT. And then I was shipped off to Korea.
Yeah.
And I remember a funny story. When I found out that I was going to Korea, believe it or not, there was only one thing going through my mind. It was MASH. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that was going through my mind. So I'm actually thinking, I'm going where? That's not what I had on my list. I think I had Hawaii, Florida, nice places. I think I even had California on there. I didn't get those duty stations. They were sending me to Korea. And I remember I was on the phone with my mother and I go like this. I'm 18 at the time. I probably was crying like a baby back then and going, please get me out of here. I don't want to die. I've seen MASH. I know what would happen. Totally nothing like that. I had a great time. I was stationed in Daegu, Korea, which is South Korea, and it was a great time. I enjoyed it. I had fun during it.
That is great. That is great. Well, because I always think when I think of military police, I think that, man, you get in some situations, because military guys, let's be honest. I mean, you're like 18 to 28, 29 years old. A lot of these guys, they get loose. It's
Damon, I mean, are you trying to bait me? I mean, Damon, I'll if you really want to know, I mean, my first day in Korea. So we flew in, and I believe when I flew in, I was actually with one of my friends from basic training. He met me in Chicago. We flew to California. I think it was California, and then we went to Korea.
Yeah.
How it went. But anyways, we get in, we flew into Seoul, get down to Daegu, and everybody's going out to the Ville. Now, mind you, I'm 18. Yeah. Yes, I went out drinking before. It's nothing my mother doesn't know now. I'm almost 50, so statute of limitations, she can't beat me.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're going out to the Ville. I'm going, all right, great. Now, I'm not a beer drinker. I don't like beer. I mean, it's too bitter. I'm more of like the sweet drink type person, or whiskey and shots. So we get out there, and they have this thing called jungle juice.
Oh yeah.
And it was, I don't know what else. I know it was soju that was in there. I will never forget that time, because I got in trouble my first day there. But do you want to know what the cool thing about it was? My squad leader, who's corporal, and I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah.
At the time, or what his name was at all. But he knew it. I was gone.
Yeah.
And he took me back. I think I had to do some extra duty, and I learned my lesson from there. And it was it. But it was really like my college. It was fun. It was a job that you had to go out and do. And one of the most important sayings that I think every military policeman probably has ingrained in them, at least at that time, was, don't confuse your rank with my authority. Because people would come in, things would happen, and, listen, I'm a captain, a current whatever. Sir, please don't confuse your rank with my authority. You're not supposed to be doing that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there are a lot of stories, and I cherish every one of them. It was awesome for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got, first of all, you're 18. I mean, how much traveling did you really do before you went to Korea?
None. I mean, you're not talking about the family road trip down to Florida, are you?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
none.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
So I did all my traveling when I was in the military, and it just seemed like I kept traveling from there.
Yeah.
So, but it was awesome. And the things that we saw, I wasn't on the DMZ. I wasn't there, and I was lucky. It was, obviously, I didn't get Hawaii, California, or Florida, but if anything, this was great. And it was a culture that I learned. Very beautiful place. Yeah. Very beautiful. And I remember and some of the restaurants going out there.
Yeah.
So really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool, because I think when you look back on your life, and like all of us do, I think those things in those formative years are so important in where you end up today and how you do what you do. Because when you look at what you do now, I mean, you take a much different approach to your work than other people do. I would think anyway.
Yes. I've been told that a couple times, just maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm not your typical finance guy.
Yeah.
And I think the military had a lot to do with it. It taught me persistence. Ever since, even before the military, and I don't know if you know this, I'm a disabled vet, but I have a pin in my hip.
Yep.
One leg is shorter than the other, and I got out because it was acting up again. But a long time ago, the doctor told me I would never walk again. I'd end up being on crutches or in a wheelchair by the time I'm 25.
Yeah.
Well, I have the limp still. I can't. One leg will always be a little bit longer than the other. However, I just did not want to take that answer. I've never. Yeah. what it wasn't an option. I wasn't going to go into a wheelchair or anything like that. So I kept working out on my legs, trying to make them stronger. It has gotten worse over the years.
Yeah.
But, it beats 25. I've gotten 25 more years out of it than what he thought. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't talk about it much, but my father's got about 6 inches of his left leg, and he was a farmer for about 40 years. So you can do what you want to do when you decide to do it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just, but that's great to hear that that you've been able to do that, because you tell me a little bit about, you got a fair amount of history in the rental industry. And so you kind of understand retail and working through that stuff. And then, let's see, about 4 years ago or so, you started with ASEMA.
Yeah, 4 years. It'll be 5 come November.
Yeah.
It seems like, so I got out of the military.
Yeah.
And I'll make the synopsis. I'll make it short. So you get
interesting history. That's
after I got out of the military, I started working at Boca Raton Community Hospital, and payroll staffing coordinator, whatever, in there. It was awesome. I liked it. My grandparents were down there. My grandfather was down there. It was great because I had some of my family there when I got out. I started doing stand-up comedy, and at the same time as when I was working at Boca Raton.
Yeah.
And it was just something I wanted to try. I loved making people laugh. I was that guy that would go to the parties and I would just start making jokes and making people laugh. I was always like that. And doing that on the side, I wasn't going to make it full time, because if you want to be a stand-up comedian, you got to put in a lot of time.
Yeah.
And not make money.
Yeah.
You're not making a lot of money. I met Andrew Dice Clay when I was down in Boca Raton, Florida.
There you go.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. But that whole nother story, and probably another time. But when you find out really how much somebody makes, you're not going to come out of the gates being a Robin Williams or a big time comedian, and it's just not going to happen. You got to work your way up. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted a job.
Yeah.
I wanted to work. So after the hospital, I know what I was doing there wasn't aligned to what I did in the military.
Yeah.
So somebody told me, why don't you go for a loss prevention? And I go, wow, that would be interesting, catching shoplifters. Okay. So I started doing loss prevention for, a company called TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I had such a gift. I had a great mentor when I first started in loss prevention, which was Jim Renza, and him and I are on Facebook together. He's down in Florida. Him and I would have such a great time, but we would focus on, you had external shoplifters, but you also had internal shoplifters.
Yeah.
And I read a lot of books I loved how people, reading a person like a book. I know that actually is a book, but I used to love watching people. Yeah. And you could tell who's going to do what on there. And the stories there alone. I almost got hit by a car going after a shoplifter. And nobody thought that they were stealing. And I'm trying to tell the manager, and I'm all the way in the back up on a crow's nest type thing, looking through those little small two-way mirrors. You know what I'm talking about, that you used to see there? And this kid just loaded up a bunch of clothes, like Tommy Hilfigers and stuff like that, in a garbage bag. And then he starts running out. And I was not as big as I am now. I was a little bit skinnier, Damon, so I could get down off of high places quickly and run.
Yeah.
And so I went after him. The manager's following me. I follow him out the strip mall and trying to get it. He dropped the stuff, but he dropped it in front of a car that he was getting into. And the car started, coming towards me. And I saw it, and I just jumped up. My butt landed on the hood, and I rolled off.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exciting times. Good times. Good times. That's what it was. That was a good time.
Well, and that's the people that are not in that, and I'm not in it, so I don't know. But I don't think they even really. I mean, they worry about loss prevention now, but they don't have people that goes after anybody anymore, do they? Really?
No. Actually, after I got out, and I heard about this, after I got out, they stopped. They stopped chasing, and I don't know for sure. I don't want anybody, if you're not on the right side of the law, going in somewhere and taking something.
Exactly.
Well, I heard Joe, the finance guy, they said that nobody stops shoplifters anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody got shot in Florida. I got shot. A loss prevention person got shot in the face or whatever it was. And that was right after I stopped.
Yeah.
And I guess they didn't do it anymore. There were some scary times, but it's the people that you wouldn't think. I worked at Lowe's loss prevention, and I remember that's where I met my wife, my best friend.
Yeah.
And she was a head cashier, but I would always, it's funny, I would always peacock, if you would. If I was going to make a stop, I would like make it was like a big deal about the whole thing. Like, the double doors outside, like the contractor place,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Well, the LP booth was right near there. So if I saw somebody going out, I would be calling up, making sure that I had people there and go, listen, you got to follow me. So then when I would go out, and if she was at the desk at all, I would like pop open the doors so they both swung open. Like it was like some sort of big show.
Like Wyatt Earp going into the bar.
Yeah, she knew what I was doing. But this one person, and this guy was big, or at least, well, he was big when I got up to him. But it was just me and another manager, and the manager couldn't have been more than 4 feet tall. And I'm going, listen, this will be easy. Just, he took a couple sink stuff or whatever. Let's go. So I start running after him, did the whole peacock thing again, ran out. As I'm running up to the guy, he started getting taller. And he became, I'm looking at him like he's Chewbacca. I mean, I'm like this. And I'm going like this. And I'm thinking he's going to fight. And I go, sir, Joe Stepke, lost French, I need you to come back inside with me. Do you know what he did? He turned around and said, okay. Came right in. No fuss, no muss. That was easy.
Oh, God.
We had ones that were like short, small, and thinking, yeah, this will be a piece of cake. Yeah, no, there wasn't.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
But from there, the reason why I was talking on loss prevention, from loss prevention, when my wife and I started getting serious, I went over to work for a company called Rentway.
Yeah.
And it was right next door. I met one of my friends, John Clark, who was over there. I hated him when I first met him. Listen, I'm the godfather to his son now. So, and CJ and Lori and John, if you're watching this, Lissa and Trisha, hi. But God, he was such a sarcastic person. Him and I did not get along at all.
Yeah. And
he was ex-military. And next thing you know, he's the one that taught me about, rent to own and collections and all that. And that was exciting. But I started at Rentway. I worked my way up from a delivery driver all the way up to manager, RD, regional manager in development. I left to go to JD Buyrider, which is like a buy here, pay here car place.
Yeah.
That they were looking for somebody for in the financing side of it, which was sort of up my alley a little bit because they do their own collections there.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked there, and then I went back. I went to Aaron's Sales and Lease.
Yeah.
And from there, I went back to Rentway, where I met a person that I would be indebted to for probably the rest of my life. He actually, and it's Michael Bennett. He's the CEO of Buddy's Furnishings, Buddy's Rents. And I've known Michael for 20 years, going on 50. We had the trifecta when he was here. It was him and I got along personally, we got along professionally, and our families got along.
Yeah.
And that's hard to find anywhere. And it was just, the things, him and I we clicked. We were the ultimate yin and yang.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot about the lease to own business, and not just collections, but the right ways to do it. I think he took what I learned, like the roughness that I learned through everything, and he polished it. And from there, I left Rentway. I followed him, and I was part equity owner in the second largest franchise for Aaron's.
All right.
And that was great because I was putting time in and helping build a business with one of my best friends. It was great. I mean, how could you go wrong?
Yeah, that's great. That's
great. And then once we sold back to Aaron's corporate, he became the VP down here up here in Indiana. We followed, and I was assistant VP, senior regional. And then after, I think it was 5 years, they changed CEOs. They changed the C-level management. And next thing you know, I was looking for another position. I went to another company, almost like what we do now. It was more along the lines of Rent-A-Center. And I was there for a year and a half, worked with an amazing person, Hoss Stamper. So Hoss, if you're watching this, how you doing? He was great. And he left. And then I left. And I think Acima came around right after that.
Okay.
And the CEO of Acima, Aaron Allred, he heard from one of my friends, Amanda, who worked with me at Acceptance Now, said, if you're looking for somebody in Indiana, there's one guy you got to call. You got to call Joe.
Good.
So he called me up. I took such a drastic pay cut to come on board, but I saw the vision.
Yeah.
And if you believe in the leadership, you believe in the vision, you could go anywhere. And I read, just exactly what we did, and I loved it. I was like going, I could do this. This is easy. And so I started, I think at day one, I've never missed a goal with the SEMA. I've always gotten my enrollments. I've utilized my network around me because I talked to people about, it's not about, and it wasn't about a SEMA. I just wanted to tell you how I got to here.
Yeah.
But it was showing them the value on how to bring in customers.
Yes.
Because when you have this type of program, yes, it's not about, yes, you could get those customers. Remember, we said 69% of Americans don't have that.
Yeah.
And not to mention who doesn't have credit cards or who doesn't have that ability to get credit. I think it's a third of Americans or 2/3 of Americans, their credit scores are under like 600. So they probably don't have credit cards or anything like that. And don't quote me on that one. I have to look that one up. I need 59% because I just read that just recently. But if they don't have that, how can you get those customers in? Yes. What about Mrs. Smith that lives next door to Mrs. Jones, and they see Mrs. Jones, they went to Joe's Furniture and they got this brand new sectional and it looks great, and she's showing it off, but Mrs. Smith doesn't have the credit nor the money, but she wants it. Human beings are creatures of habit. They're going to find ways to get it. And guess what they'll do, Damon? They'll go out and try to, they'll go anywhere. They'll go to the rent-to-owns. They want to get something, and they might pay a little bit more. The great thing about having an alternative funding option or payment option is that in 25 seconds, they get approved up to $5,000. I mean, and then they can get what they want, and it's just a low to no initial payment. Yeah. They pay as little as nothing or $50 to get something, and all they need is, a mobile phone or a way to fill out their application, and 25 seconds, it's done. They need 3 months consecutive income, 90 days with a checking account, make over $1,000 a month. That's it. And it's not even any paperwork that you got to physically show anybody. It's all done through the computer and the application process.
Yeah.
And I might be going ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to.
No. I mean, what you're talking about here, though, really, I mean, for the retailer, there's a benefit. So if I'm a retailer, just give it for example, kind of what it really does with a retailer as far as their top line revenues if they're a store or trying to do something.
Traditionally, I know that one of the managing partners, Sean Stevenette, another great individual. Him and I have talked before, but it's usually a 5 to 10% kick.
Okay.
To the top line revenue. Or I know that like a single store, maybe a $60,000 extra to the top line.
Yeah. That's cool.
And what is that? What is that worth to somebody? For a mom and pop store, that's worth a lot for any store.
Yeah,
60,000 per location, in top line revenue increase. It's huge. But what I found was it's not just about the in-store option to have it. It was also how do you teach people to bring in other customers?
Yes.
I was on the phone with one of my retailers, and these are the little, we talked about before the show. I was telling you about that. I want to do a podcast, like a cup of Joe in the morning, like something like that. And these are little tips and tricks because I've had these in me for so long. But one of the things I was telling this one retailer, I was going, have you ever thought if you're looking for customers, I was going, I know this is, whether it's pre-COVID, post-COVID, whatever. I go, where do you go to lunch at? He goes, well, I usually go to the Subway right up the way. I go, have you ever thought about going in there, just going up to the manager and go like this, hey, listen, I'm Jake right over here at Mattress and Furniture. I wanted to make you aware, you guys are all gold members with my company. That means that you automatically get 5%, 10% off, whatever you want to do. And he goes, well, I would give somebody 5%. Great. All right. So why don't you go in there and tell them you automatically get 5% off? And why don't you go a step further? If they want to put it on their receipt, any customers they have and they bring in that receipt, they get 5% off too. They're all gold members. And then he goes like this, wow, I never thought about that. Yeah, and something simple, because do you eat lunch every day? Yeah, well, yes, I do. Where do you go? I worked in one of the brick and mortar stores, like in retail. I know you could try packing a lunch. Sure, it happens. But most of the time, what are we doing? We're going out to eat.
Yeah.
And you just can't help it. They made it cheaper now. That's the way to go. Ask the people where you go. Going to the bank. Have you ever thought about going to two businesses that are around there when you're going to the bank? Just stuff like that to talk to the manager, because then it builds the community side and they're going, hey, listen, we need to go in and see them.
Yeah. And, that's the thing that I come back to when we first met, that it's been a while now, last year sometime, early last year, or sometime last year.
It was before my November incident in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a bad incident. I don't want everybody thinking Las Vegas incident.
Yeah.
Right? I had a mini stroke out there or something like that, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
But yes, it was before that, I think.
Yeah, it was. And but what I can remember from the very first conversation is you were talking about things like this, that you're actually helping retailers increase their sales. Correct. Not just sell something that of course helps them, but helps you. You were showing them how to actually increase the sales of their business. And I do that every day with our clients and just about every conversation. Right. And it's interesting to see you take that approach, because you are helping them succeed so that you can succeed. And I think that's really the sales, the part of the sales that you understand very well. And I was just saying that
I know. I'm looking at that.
You're laughing at it too.
Yeah. Started going like this. Batman rolls off a car wreck. Thanks.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to look at chat. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at it too. It just kind of hits me right in the face, and I'm trying to do it. But the whole thing about it is you're helping people do this and helping them sell more along with what you're doing. You're helping them make them successful. And ultimately, if you make them more successful, hey, that's great, because there's going to be more customers coming to you anyway. So
Right.
it works well for everyone. But some of the innovative ways that you're telling them, like that, you were talking about flyers, I think, handing people flyers with
Correct. Well,
they buy.
that you're right. I don't like to give out every one of my tips.
No, you don't have to.
I still got a lot of them. Yes, Ira, you will be ignored. But the one thing, the flyer one, I think is what I told you. I was and this was great. I have a retailer, and great kid. He's in his 20s. He has a significant other. They are great people, and he was not a good kid when he was younger. I grew up in Chicago. I know that I wasn't a good kid myself. However, he went the right way, and he opened up a business.
Yeah.
When he opened up the business, I remember going over there, and this was in Ohio, and he bought a bunch of door hangers. So I come in, and it was cold out. I remember I had my I remember it was cold out. I had my overcoat on and stuff. And he goes like this, "Oh, sir, I'm glad you're here." He took me. He was so proud of his store, which his store looked great. And he goes like this, "Hey, I want to show you what I got." And he had all these door hangers right there. He goes like this, "Hey, do you see this? I got these for pennies on the dollar." This, I mean, awesome. And he was really proud of them. It had this logo and everything. I think it had the ASEMA stuff on there, text to apply, whatever it was. And he said, he goes, "And you know what I do with them?" And I go like this, "What?" And he leans into me. He goes, "When people are about to leave, I give them one."
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, all right, this is a teachable moment. I was waiting for something else.
Yeah.
And the one thing with my retailers, I get to know them. I'm actually their business partner that they don't have to pay.
Yeah.
I've been on the phone with some. I've been on the phone for an hour, 2 hours. It doesn't matter if they want to talk to me, I'll be there. So I really owed it to this person to go, because in my mind, I was thinking something totally different. I go, all right. So I asked him, I go like this, "How many deliveries do you do a day?" Because you know what I'm doing. I'm doing like 10 deliveries a day. I go, "Great. Have you ever thought about taking those flyers and going 5 up and 5 down to these other places?" He goes, and I go, he just shook his head, and I go, "Have you ever thought about monetizing your delivery drivers so they're not thrown away? So if anybody comes in with one, like maybe they have different colors or they put their initials on it, but if somebody comes in, they each get $5 or they get 10, whichever one." He's going, "Wow, that's a great idea." I go, "Hey, I even got another one for you." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "It's called Breakfast Blitz. Could you imagine?" Now, take this if you would. And he had a map up, or a map of the city. I go, "Where's the nearest rent to own?" I'm not going to say which rent to own it was, but there was. I go, "Do you know these rent to owns, they pick places to go to be, not because it's the cheapest place, it's because their customer base is all around this area. So have you ever thought about going a block or 2 blocks around there? And on Thursday, why don't you get your team, go to McDonald's, get a bunch of breakfast burritos or sausage biscuits for $1, have a team building event, just talk with everybody, and then take these door hangers and go up and down the block or whatever and put them on the doors." Now, I'm not telling you to knock, because guess what? Those people are probably not home, because why? Just like you, they're out working.
They're working.
But you know what's going to happen on Thursday? They're going to come in on Thursday night, see that, and you just planted the seed because you're the farmer. You just planted the seed with that door flyer, or that flyer, or door hanger. And on Friday, they get paid. Hey, we ought to go in there. Hey, did you see this no credit needed thing? Wow, that's cool. It wasn't about just the no credit needed part, but it was about, he just utilized that to bring a customer in.
Yeah.
And for the amount that he paid. So let's cut to after I leave and that first weekend, I get a call like Monday. Oh my God, Joe, that worked. I can't believe it. I go, I've done this for so many years. It's just ingrained in me.
Yeah.
It's something that I learned from Michael Bennett. I mean,
Yeah,
a long time ago.
that example that you gave, and it was great. It was great then, great now, is just how you do this differently. I mean, when you look at the way that you are branding yourself, when you look at the way that you are engaging on LinkedIn, let's talk about that a little bit, because I gotta believe that you're in an industry where you're probably the unicorn. I mean,
wow, that's another word I've never heard before. I'm joking, and yes, I have heard that one. I've heard the Tony Robbins of Lisa Own. That was from Tia Dietz, as a matter of fact. She said that to me, and it was different when I first came in, and I wasn't making a lot, and I have a family of 4.
Yep.
I was used to making over 6 figures a year working for errands. And when that was cut abruptly,
yeah.
And one thing I know, I told Nick this yesterday, it was humbling at the same time.
Yeah.
Because when I lost my job, do you want to know what I used credit, because everything was for the kids and for myself. If you could tell from the background, I like comic books. Yeah, I know you already know about this, but
we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Okay, good. Well, I didn't save a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you go home to your wife and you tell her, listen, I'm out of a job, no severance package. And because I was making over the amount, I didn't have the 401k. I had this deferred payment type thing, but we got to wait 6 months to get that. Hey, I know I just got to go out and get a job really quick. I was scared. I'm still scared of my wife. So she's a New York Italian and my best friend, but I'm still scared to death of her. So it's not the easiest thing to do. So that's what she did. She took everything like a trooper, and she was, I think she was one of the original extreme couponers before that went away. Because we have a stockpile room that's still next door to this thing that's still filled up.
There you go.
But she took the unemployment and she stretched it. And I was only out of a job for, I think, a month, and that was it. But I learned so much from that when I went into ASEMA making less, I had a plan on, all right, how do I dig myself out of my credit?
Yeah.
The credit hole that I dug myself in with all the credit cards, and how do I dig myself out, and how do I get a rainy day fund? And the rainy day fund was to have a year's salary in, because you never know when a company is going to let you go or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And I don't want to be caught like that again.
Well,
so ASEMA helped me with that, because now I am debt free. The only debt I have is my house.
Yeah.
And I plan on retiring in 5 years.
Yeah.
So,
well, and what you talk about, and when you say that, you said one thing in there that you never know if you're going to be working for a company. And I tell you what, one of the things that the fallacies that I had when I was growing up and working through my career is that I thought that if I got, if you were managing and working up in the companies, that there was somehow some sort of security to it, but it gets worse. As you move up the chain, it gets worse.
Right.
And that's what people don't realize. It's not any better. I should say maybe not worse, but it's not any better.
Right. And there's not, I know it isn't. You become more of a target. I've heard stories that, when you're out there and you're doing well, or you're number one all the time, you also become a target. I try to pay attention to my own thing. I really don't look at that.
Yeah.
I know that I've been offered a VP position, I think twice.
Yeah.
With the company, and I'm happy where I'm at, because I don't want to go out traveling.
Yeah.
And I've signed up over 920 locations in 4 years.
I heard that yesterday when you were talking to Nick, and I'm like, how in the hell do you do that in Indy? Right?
Yeah, that's the same thing. That's funny you say that. That's the same thing. The CEO, they used me as the rabbit. You know what I mean by the rabbit when they talk to other ASMs.
Yeah.
They use me sometimes like that, going, Joe's done it and he's in Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a minute. It was because I met more people like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The people I've met on LinkedIn. Damon, I mean, I have such a great neuro network of people on there, and we're friends.
Yeah.
We got to know each other where we took the online offline.
Yeah.
I got to know you. You were one of the first ones. You and Nick were the first ones that got me doing these Zoom calls, and I go, holy crap, this is great.
Yeah.
But you, Nick Dorsey, Ira, I can't even begin how much that man is such a giver.
Oh yeah.
That I know he's my LinkedIn bestie. The ultimate Superman to my Batman, or Hulk to my Iron Man. But he is such a giver and helps people. And really it's he promotes me. I know he promotes all of us. And I know you do it. If there's so many people out there, Tina Oliver, whenever, and I said this yesterday, she's the credit wizard, and it's like she helps people build their credit, and I help businesses get people that don't have good credit.
Yeah.
So it's such a great relationship to have with her. Just what a great heart. Erica Warfield, Michael Connor, just so many people out there that have helped me build my business. And I think that's what's done it. But to your point, the 920, it was because I've known all these people through LinkedIn, not just the ones I mentioned, but people I knew 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I connected with somebody. I remember, and I no names on this, but they were trying to connect with somebody on there, and hey, do you know this person? And I remember an email going to introducing me to this person.
Yeah.
And I was part of it. I go, hey, I don't know if you remember me. And in not even 5 minutes, email came back. Holy crap, I knew it was you, Joe Stepke. How could I not know it was you? And believe it or not, we talked the next day, and one of the bigger deals that I've gotten, and closed it in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, we talked about the program.
Yeah.
45 minutes, it was, well, how in the hell are you?
What's going on? Yeah.
And it's all about, people say it's not who you know, it's what you know, or it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it is true. I've made so many friendships over the years that even in the rent-to-own industry, people open up their own retail business and they call me up. It's just been so great.
Yeah.
It's helped my family out probably more than anything. And I used to send out thank you notes. I used to handwrite thank you notes. Now, when you get up to almost, it's over 900 locations. Yeah, it's hard writing thank you notes. At that time, I'd be writing a bunch every single day, but I always thank them. I send out emails. 82% of those locations do deals.
Yeah.
And for myself, it was just, and I still go out there.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Even though that I work in my office now, what a great office to work in. But even though I work in the office now, I still go out and visit and help merchants, and they're friends. They're all friends. And then I get referrals. I could easily get 5 referrals any month. Just it's that easy.
And you've taken what I like this, and what I see about you've done in personal, off LinkedIn and on LinkedIn, is you've used it to build relationships.
Yes.
And where that relationship goes, who knows? Good friends, just whatever it is. But by building those relationships, and it's something that I didn't know LinkedIn was like this until shortly before I met you. And you start to engage on LinkedIn, and people that aren't on LinkedIn or aren't using LinkedIn like this to build relationships can't really fathom what it will do if you just build relationships.
Right.
In the relationships, and yes, you did it in your career throughout, and that helped a lot too. But the long and short of it is, you're a great relationship builder. You build relationships through helping your clients be better. You build relationships like you're doing on LinkedIn every day, supporting people no matter what. Then just the content you produce. I mean, you're kind of an engine when it comes to that. You're the gifts you produce and some of the little video things you do and the posts you're doing almost every day. If people haven't followed Joseph Stepke, they need to, because it's worthwhile, and you get some interesting stuff, and it's fun to watch.
Well, I would say YouTube is new to me.
Yeah.
I know the Twitter, the Instagram, just even talking with my kids, I was upstairs before this, and my daughter, you saw the post that I did this weekend. She goes, Dad, she was not here. She goes, Dad, I really appreciate you doing the Danny DeVito, the Danny DeVito post. And I did two of them. I did the one because I guess it was Danny DeVito Day. I have no idea. But I just thought, I saw it trending on Twitter, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this for my daughter, Sierra. This will be cool because she likes Danny DeVito. And then we start talking. I go like this, so who would you pick? Would you pick 50 Kermits and 30 Danny DeVitos to pick you? And she's going, Dad, I actually just skim over your Instagram. I think it's pretty sad. And I go like this, what? She goes, I just think it's Dad, it's just not cool for the daughter to like the dad stuff.
Yeah.
And my son's the same way.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even want to play video games with me anymore. Yeah. He goes, I'm like the person like in the corner going like this, hey, you want to play? Hey, Dad, after I get off with my friends, then I'll play with you, all right? Just don't talk right now. I'm on there. They could hear you. So, but it is different. I've tried different avenues like the social media. Yeah. And I think that's the way to connect with people. I said it last night on Nick's thing, is that people buy from people.
Yeah.
How are you really going to get to know somebody off of just LinkedIn? You could, but you got to take the online offline, but also you get to know more about them through the Facebook, through Instagram, more of that. And I think when I'm such a chameleon, because I could get along with mostly anybody. I very rarely will say anything bad about somebody. I might think it, and there's a couple people I confide in. Gregory Adams is one of them. He actually was an ASM with the SEMA, and then he became VP. And he's a great friend. He's like my brother. But great person. But anyways, I think you could find common ground with anybody.
Yeah.
I've taken took me like 18 months to close somebody before, just by going in there every day, and that's where the persistence comes in. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. And then finally one day they go, you know what? I see the need. Because I don't do the pressure sales. I think people have other things to do, but when you find out something about them, listen, I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm from Chicago. My wife's from New York. She's Italian. I was in the military. I'm a veteran. I'm disabled. There's so many things to talk about that, the stand-up comedy too. You could find something of the comic book stuff alone. Do you know how many closet comic book geeks there are out there?
Oh yeah.
I'm proud to sit there and display that. Look, I drive around in a Chrysler 300 Gotham City edition. Come on. I'm not embarrassed, even though that when I turn 50, I think I'm turning it in and just taking the bat symbols off. So, but that's another story on all the
Yeah.
But I think it's about building relationships.
It is. You're great at it. And you do understand the importance of getting personal, understanding something about people so that you can build these deeper relationships. Because it's right. Selling's not about pushing something on somebody. It's about, hey, if you need it, great. If it helps, great. If it doesn't, let's talk, be friends. Why not?
And that's what I try to do with it is hard. You just got to crack the initial shell out there, because a lot of people just see it and just go, oh, just another salesperson. I am not like that. I truly want to help people. I'll give you another example. And I know I wanted to talk about e-commerce with you because that's a hot topic. But one of the examples was, I'm in a Facebook group, a mattress group. And it was almost like a questionnaire came up. Like, who would you rather use? Like, would you rather use, A, B, C, D? SEMA was one of them.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of retailers in this group. And they were going, oh my gosh, Joe, the finance guy, Joe Stepke, you got to talk to him and stuff. So the person that posted it, I reached out to the person and said, listen, if you need anything, you want to talk, feel free, give me a call. I'm here for you. And come to find out, he did reach back out to me. He goes, listen, you really swayed me. I'm going to sign up with SEMA, but I have been talking to somebody else. I think it's only fair to do that. That's fine. But at least I got the ball rolling. And that's where I don't think people, I'm not going to say SEMA doesn't know it. I wonder sometimes how many people I've actually drew in to sign up with us as Joe, the finance guy, because I still help anybody on there. And I'm not the type of person that's going to take something from somebody else. I think you reap what you sow. Yeah. And when you do something like that, it's just going to come back at you tenfold. Yeah. So I rather help somebody, and the more people you help, the more it'll just come back at you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. So let's get on something that's kind of important here and been on my mind, because I'm trying to say, so now, are you a DC only or a Marvel and DC guy?
I am. If you look around the back cave here,
that kind of gives it away.
I am both. I'm both. I have Marvel and DC. However, back in 1990, and believe it or not, do you want to know when I started this? After high school. Yeah. After high school. Yes. I liked Batman during high school. I always liked him because he was the world's greatest detective. I always wanted to be a cop. My father said, cops don't call themselves cops. All right, whatever. But I think he always thought I was immature. He goes, you ought to be an actor. You want to be a cop, be an actor to be a cop or something like that. But I never did it. I liked Batman and I liked Sherlock Holmes when I was younger because they were the world's greatest detectives. Yeah. I got involved with X-Men, was my first real love of comics. And I was stationed at Sierra Army Depot in Northern California, Herlong, California. And my roommate at the time, he showed me one of the comic books, and I read it, and all I was thinking was, oh my God, this is cool. Yeah. And then the show came out, the video, the cartoon. Then I started watching that. So I'm like 20 years old watching cartoon religiously. I had to record it. I wasn't going out drinking with my friends when I was in Florida after I got out of the military. I was collecting comic book figures. And so there was a Christmas that came about. It was right after the X-Men series came out. And Lisa and John Shuteo, friends of mine, and Lisa used to work at Boca Raton Community Hospital. They got me two figures. It was Mr. Sinister and Wolverine, two of the figures that I started with. And I love to tell you I still have them in the box. I do not. Yeah. I opened them. So I'm thinking they weren't worth anything, Damon. I'm thinking, I thought it was cool. So I'm taking them out of the box. I'm putting them up like a little diorama or whatever. on like a shelf, like little sticky stuff on there. Just thinking it was cool. I had probably the whole set. I went in to buy my comics, so I'm already into comics now. I'm reading X-Men usually, Wolverine, Batman. I'm reading them on a regular basis, and this was before Big Bang was even cool. Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And I'm in there, and the guy said something, or they had Beast. Beast was behind the counter, and it said $55 on it, and I went, that's worth 55? He goes, yeah. I go, well, I have that. He goes, you do? And I go, yeah, I have that same exact one, but it doesn't have that thing in there. And he's thinking it's a variant of some sort and probably worth more. And he goes, really? I go, yeah, I threw it away when I opened it up and put it out. He goes, well, then it's not worth 55.
Yeah.
Because they're worth more in the box, which I didn't know that. At that time, I wasn't thinking that way. I went out to almost every KB toy store because they were selling them like for $10. I went to every single one to track down every one I had before. I got them all back.
Oh,
and I've never taken anything out of the box after that.
Yeah,
and my kids, it's like a running joke in the family because when Disney, I think it was Xfinity or whatever, they came out with a game that gave the characters in there, and I was going, you could just take the character, keep it in the box, and just put it on the thing, and it'll still work. So I even taught the kids not to take things out of the box, and they don't. Some of them just keep them in there. So, but they're looking forward to me dying so that they could get this.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. It's like their inheritance, probably.
Yeah. Well, my wife says our retirement. My kids say that's ours. I told them I wanted them all melted down and a casket made out of it. But that's when my wife told me I'm being cremated. So great. I didn't even have that in the plan for me. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. So that, the passion around it is awesome, man. Because, and it is funny though when you look at this stuff, and with me, I had something a little bit different, but I was in Cooperstown, New York, a number of years ago now. My son playing baseball, and I walked into, obviously, baseball. It's the mecca of baseball history. Other than some of the great parks in the United States, Cooperstown is the place to go if you ask me. And I'm walking into one of these stores that has the old baseball gloves, right? And I look down at this glove and I go, that's my glove. And I'm not talking about the glove, that I had when I was 20. I mean, I'm talking about the glove that I think my father gave it to me. My parents gave it to me when I was probably 10. I've still got it. And I looked at that glove, and the glove was like $200. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so this is a few years ago. I walk out and I walk into the garage where, of course, I've got, you've got totes full of sports junk.
Right.
Sure as hell. I dig down. There's that glove. And I'm like, I got to take better care of this stuff.
And you didn't sell it, did you?
No, it's still here. I've got it laying in my office.
Well, first off, I want to say, I never knew, if what you just said to me about Cooperstown, if I didn't have an incident that happened to me about a month ago, I would not know what the hell you were talking about at all.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. So, I'm not a sports guy because how many jokes. The only sports teams I like are the Bears, the Bulls, the Cubs. That's it. Yeah. Maybe the Blackhawks, but whatever. Anyways, I think that's the hockey team. But I remember Greg, actually, we were talking about something. He goes, Joe, you're in Cooperstown. You're good. And I didn't know what he was talking about. So when Nick came out to visit, when he came out to visit in Indy, and we met up at that Italian cafe that's really not an Italian cafe, whatever. And long story behind that one too. But I was telling him, I don't know how he got on it, and he said something about Cooperstown, and he goes, yeah, the Major League, Hall of Fame and stuff.
Oh.
And I went, oh. So then I explained the story to him. He goes, yeah. I go, I had no idea. So then I had to call up Greg and go, wow, I never knew that's what you meant. I had no clue. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So what you meant? Yeah, you're like a Hall of Famer. That's what I was trying to say. I was going, yeah, I had no clue. I didn't get it. Why couldn't you just say like you're like Stan Lee? And then I would have gotten that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is funny because it is like anything, because I talk with my son. My son's a Marvel maniac. He's 21, but the dude, I mean, just like you were saying, understands the backstory behind characters. And now kids are on YouTube a gazillion hours a month and looking at all the backstories and everything else around the characters.
Oh,
and, he's telling me that just the amazing amount of detail that you can understand about Marvel and stuff. And I was trying to relate to him the other day about how Stan Lee, how many years, and I'm not a great comic nut, but I can remember Stan Lee when I was 18, 19 years old. Right. And comics weren't that big a deal. They were around and everything, right. But they weren't big like they are now. And Stan Lee was just a struggling cartoonist.
Right. Oh yeah.
And now it's like shit. There's probably shrines, up to him and
I regret. I could have met him. We went to one of the Comic Cons, or we were supposed to. No, we were supposed to go to that one, and I didn't get it. And it was just recently, like where I had the money that we could have done it. And I regret not doing it. And it's something I should have. That's one of the things that I said, no, it's all right. I don't need to. I really liked him. I would say don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
I actually went to a Comic-Con. I met, I'm in line. So, I'm an X-Men, fanatic at first. And I was going to meet Patrick Stewart. And I have my wife and kids there. And I have my phone out. And I want to take a picture with them because I really liked Patrick Stewart. I liked Professor Xavier. I liked him as Jean-Luc Picard. But he's also played a lot of other things, too. He's just a great, well-rounded actor. And I know during this whole COVID thing, he was reading sonnets and stuff like that. And Jonathan Frakes, also from Star Trek, was on there too. But it was awesome. I thought the world of him. I'm in line, and I know that they see so many people a day. I get it. I go, you don't mind me taking a picture of you really quick? He goes, no, you can't. Move along. And that's all I will remember of Patrick Stewart saying that to me. And it almost broke. It's weird. Not that it broke my heart. It was just like, I told my kids, you just shouldn't meet your heroes. You just shouldn't meet your heroes because everybody's human. He could have had a bad day. I did meet Iceman, or we all met Iceman, the guy that played him in the movie.
Yeah.
He was great. And Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
He came around. He liked my wife. He actually friended my wife on Facebook.
Oh, freaking awesome.
He wouldn't friend me, but he friended my wife.
Oh, hell no. He wouldn't do that.
But no. And I don't think anything of it. But it was really cool. He had a good picture with them and stuff like that. It was awesome. That was a great Comic-Con to be in. And I also met the person from Sleepy Hollow. I can't remember her name, but she was the one that played Lieutenant.
Yeah.
And she was awesome. I think it was but we met her as well. And it was such a great time. I just regret when I went to Comic-Con, the only person that I didn't get to see and do anything with was Stan Lee.
Yeah.
However, going back to like this, do you know how many times I've gotten a deal just for driving up in the Batmobile?
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I've been called, oh wait, you're the guy with the hat.
Yep.
And stuff. Hey, wait, are you a gangster from New York or Chicago? Yeah. Well, they say New York. I usually go, no, I'm from Chicago originally.
Yeah.
So, and then the Batmobile one, I've done that because it sparks so much of a conversation.
Yes.
That you either hate Joe Stepke or you love him. And I think when you take the time to do things with people and they come together and they know that, listen, I could call him up at 8:00 on a Sunday night hey, listen, I got a problem. And to go, so we could dovetail a little bit into something else. I got a call one night right when COVID started happening, the shutdowns. They were shutting down, and I get a call from one of the mattress sales groups, the person that runs it in there, and he goes, hey, listen, I wanted your opinion. What do you think people are going to have to, what are we going to have to do? And I go, well, I'm glad you called.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to have to happen is if you still want to work, you're going to have to really focus on curbside.
Yep.
And you're going to have to focus online. It's going to have to go to social media.
Yeah.
And that was the way it's gearing up. I'm going to tell you, I've been in here since March 12th. Now there's a lot of other things going. That's a whole nother story. I am more successful being in here and doing calls and stuff like that. And I understand that SEMA wants me out there, but I'm so much successful. I've blew out my goals by far, probably better than anybody else over this time. Yeah. But there's being here. Do you know how many things I've ordered offline? I mean, Amazon. I mean, they sent me a plaque going like this. Hey, we just wanted to let you know you're like a great guy with us. We love you.
I had to shut my phone off because the notifications that were dinging here as I had 2 deliveries come while we were here.
Right. Well, I got 2. My 2 came earlier today. Yeah, I got the 2 books. The one that Ira read, and the branding your story, and then I got another one, like a marketing one from the same author that I wanted to read this week. Yeah. But being in here, I know that's what we're doing. Everything is done online.
Yeah.
So then, if this is what we're going to have to do, and I go, listen, we got posts. I could tell you how to do things. I mean, you got text to apply. There's so many things you could do to drive customers in, and not just about a SEMA, but to drive them in going, hey, listen, we're still doing business. I was talking to one of my merchants, and I don't think he would mind because I'm giving him a plug anyways in this. Jared Simon, he's one of the owners of Simon's Furniture in Massachusetts. And if I'm wrong, if it's not Massachusetts, I'm sorry, Jared. But anyways, and he came up with something, safe at Simon's.
Yeah.
And how they're being safe there for people coming in. It's just finding a way to get people in. And so this goes into another part, with everybody ordering things online and doing e-commerce. And by the way, if you have an e-commerce platform and you need an alternative funding option, please call Joe the finance guy. I'm going to be there for you. Or go to my website, joethefinanceguy.com. But now think about it. Everything was shut down or whatever, a month, 2 months, whatever it was, Damon.
Yep.
And warehouses were shut down. Yes. I know that some people went on vacation because we heard about it, going to Florida, spring break, whatever. I didn't go on vacation. I told my wife we're not going on vacation till next year. So how much money did I save on that?
Yeah.
Take big vacations. I'm working on the house. What we're doing, we're putting a screen room on, and we're working on the house here. The point I'm trying to make, do you know what ended up happening? Everybody started going out and buying the furniture, buying things that they needed. They got the stimulus check. They started buying, and guess what ended up happening? The warehouses were closed. So now some of these warehouses, people are waiting for deliveries. They're waiting 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Just to get product now because there was such an influx with people going in. They're going, we're home. We might as well get stuff that we need now. And that ended up happening. People buying online and everything else. So for myself, what I've seen is now, they're doing great. Some of my retailers have had the best months that they ever had. One of my retailers, he didn't, one store, one single store, not even online, doesn't use e-commerce. He did over 90 grand last month.
Mm-hmm.
So great person, but it's just people. When I was talking to this person in the group, I was saying, you got to go start doing things online. You got to start doing e-commerce. That's going to be the way to go. Find somebody that could drop ship. I was talking to a person. It was from Ira's Follow Me Friday when Curtis was on. Another great person, Curtis Tompkins. Love you to death, Curtis. You are the reason why I get up in the morning to look at your posts.
No doubt. If people aren't following Curtis Tompkins, they need to.
Yep.
And they need, it's like I get up really early. So what my time is like 4:15 in the morning, and I see them pop up, and I'm like, wow, they're always good.
Yeah. I love sitting there and going through that whole when he puts something up, he gets like me first thing so I could think fresh on there. But I was on the Follow Me Friday or whatever it was. He had Curtis, Ira had Curtis on, and I was talking to an individual, Mike, and he goes, "Can we talk offline?" And he did. He called me up yesterday, or it might have been yesterday or the day before, and we were talking about, well, what do you think I should do if he's not in the position he wants to be. I started giving him ideas. I go like this: if it was me, I would find out what you want, get a website.
Yep.
Like, what do you want to sell? Whatever it is, figure out something you're passionate about. See if you could get a drop ship, like that somebody can drop ship, whether it be mattress, furniture, wheels and tires, electronics, whatever it is. See if you could drop ship something. Go buy a domain website and, get something like an e-commerce platform put in there, like shopping cart capability, like a WooCommerce or whatever it is.
Shopify, you can drop Shopify in real easy.
Shopify. Yeah. And then I said, and don't forget, you're going to have to get Joe, the finance guy, to sign up with you. And he goes, well, of course I'd have to do that. Okay. But going doing something like that quick, then I go, the only thing you're going to have to do is learn how to market your website to get it out there in front of a bunch of people, and that's it. But if you could do that, you could do your job from right in an office. If you have your website, the drop ship capabilities, and do it, and then maybe get with somebody, like whoever you're doing the drop ship with, maybe you're on a net 10 or a net 30 with them, whatever it is, but you could start doing that and get product flowing.
Yeah.
And don't quit your job yet. Get it built up. And then when it starts building up where I'm making more income here than I'm doing there, then guess what? Quit your job, and now you're good, and now you're doing something you like.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that it's terrible to say, because I want to get out too. I want to go out to baseball. Well, no, I'd be lying to you if I said baseball games. I only threw that in for you because or you in the football games or whatever with Nick. Yeah. But I want to get out there. I want to do things. I want to go to concerts. I want to go out again. But I think the way it's going is it's easier for us to get on here, go search what we want. Oh, I want that. It's a good price. Let me go. Bam, 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 bam. I'm done. It's coming.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the thing is, a retailer that's doing it online now is going to have to come to terms with the fact that big box locations are not going to be able to stay the same size. And I'm not talking about Damon's, store down the street that's selling, that's gone 20 years ago. I'm talking about the ones that are still here today and selling, because when you look at in our part of the United States, Nordstrom's, right? If you look at a Nordstrom store now, they're scaling down the size of the stores. They're scaling down the inventory in the stores to offer the main things and do that. But they still are fulfilling most of their stuff through their e-commerce channel.
Correct.
And a lot of their sales now, and I do this because I don't like to walk in and shop. You order online, you go pick it up at the store, it's ready for you.
Yeah.
Well, how good is that? Now, that and COVID, I mean, ask my son. He's been to Lowe's more times because I can order junk online and he can go get it for me.
Right.
It's
I agree. That was everybody. That
Yeah.
was everybody all around, and that's right, wrong, or indifferent. But that's where we were. That's what we wanted. That was the way to shop. Look at Walmart had the idea, like, order online, go park your car and get.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, Damon. I don't want to go in Walmart because I spend too much money in there. So shopping the way I did and just do that, I'm saving money.
Yeah.
My wife will tell you that because we start at one side and I'll walk all the way around. And if I see something I like, well, I got to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing this, it just makes it a lot easier. And then I'm not wasting 2 hours walking around Walmart. It's just loaded up. That was one of the perks I thought that came out of this, that, oh, wow, I don't have to go in anymore.
I heard, Kurt Anderson talks about e-commerce a lot. Jeffrey Graham. There's a lot of people I work with that talk about e-commerce a lot, and that's what they do. And when I forget who it was, them or Brian Beck was talking about how it's just accelerated the e-commerce transformation so much faster because we couldn't go to the stores and couldn't shop and couldn't go to the malls. And I think it's something that's not going to go back because it's just people have gotten used to it and the convenience of it.
Correct.
So I think, but you helping out with an alternative financing solution for the e-commerce people helps just as well. And it really allows your retailer base now to offer service to more people.
Correct. And that's why there was, that was where I started thinking about the whole YouTube series, and I started doing.
Yeah, you did. Those were great.
The 6 benefits of offering an alternative funding option for your retail business. And I started doing that just because I want people to know. I wanted to get my name out there for one, but I wanted people to know, listen, you have a way to go to, because there's a lot of places I'll go in there and go, oh, we don't get that customer. We don't get that type of customer in there. And I'm thinking to myself going, you have a rent to own right down the way. You get that customer in here. You just don't know. And a great story, I will tell you another great story. I signed up somebody probably a couple of years ago, and they're in an area, and he hardly used us, maybe once or twice, really wasn't looking at that type of customer.
Yeah.
It happens. You can't blame the person for doing that because it happens. You don't mean to judge, but you don't even think about asking.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the way how I teach salespeople how to ask when they're leaving in a minute. You'll get a kick out of it. But a competitor of his came in and in the same town and started doing maybe about 20 deals a month with us. Easily 20. And I had to think, I was going, how is this over here getting it and this one's not? And I already knew the answer.
Yes.
And so even called up, talked to him a little bit about it, going, that customer is there. You just got to be able to go out there and get it and talk to them. And sometimes it's hard. You got to really find the pain. You got to find the pain point for somebody when they want something and they're going, I don't know why I'm not getting sales in there. That's how come I don't do pressure sales on it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell somebody, well, you're going to miss the boat. If they're not ready to listen, they're not going to do it. They're just not. They're going to take it and go, yeah, that's great. You got to wait till they want it.
Yeah.
And so this individual, he, we talked, and I'm telling you, the following weekend, he got one, and then he's been doing it ever since after that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a great feeling knowing that as Joe, the finance guy, that I like doing that. I tell my guys, and not just guys, but everybody that I talk to, that I want you to treat me like I'm your Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm as hideous. I wear dress pants, not khakis, but I want you to call me up anytime, because if you need support, I want to be there to support you.
Yeah.
And that's my claim to fame. I think that I'm different from any other finance person out there.
I agree with that 100%, Joseph. And
Thank
it's great talking to you today. And I think that the people that haven't gotten to know you about and what you can help them with, and retailers, and then just generally oh, Iron wants to know what you're wearing, Jake.
Dress pants, no
There you
shorts.
go. He's got dress pants on. We've got it going on. He's right. But and just getting to know you on LinkedIn and stuff is
Do
good.
you want to see the hat, Ira? Do you
Let's
really?
show the hat. Let's show the hat before we get off. We got to get off soon. Let's get the hat.
All right.
We're getting it all in here.
All right. I'll get the hat. All right. Is that better for you, Ira?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
That's got to be better. It's got to be better.
It's got to be better. So now, and I didn't even plan it to be down here, but if anybody, well, go ahead, Damon.
Does it have a special case?
No. I just put it. Actually, I don't even know why it's down in the back cave. I usually have it upstairs, but it was right down on the PS4 headset thing. So
there you go.
I don't know. One of the kids had it down here, but I was going to say, if anybody is interested in the program that I offer, a SEMA credit, please go to joethefinanceguy.com.
Yeah.
Go to the website. Ira Bowman made the website. So there's
he did.
Bowman Digital Media. But go to the website, sign up, go there, book a demo. It'll come to me. I'm here to be your business partner. I want to help you. And I want to help you grow your business, not just through the lease to own option, the no credit option. I want to help you grow your business all around. And that's something I love doing. And one other thing, people have called me up about other finance things. They called me up and go, hey, do you do this? And I'm going, well, that's not really what, I do.
Yeah.
And you know what I've done for them? I've looked up, I've given them numbers. I've gone on to my site to find the people and go, here you go. Now you could, like it was just talk to this person. They can help you. Just tell them Joe sent you.
Yep.
And I think that's where it's all about, because now that person's going to remember it. Going, if they ever see, and the only reason why I say it, because this is a new industry we're in right now, cell phones. They ever come to know a cell phone owner, hey, you got to call Joe the finance guy. He can hook you up. And I think that's important. And that's a whole nother, you've seen my article on that. Yeah. I think having this option for people in a cell phone business, and handheld electronics, that's important. I did the same thing. I called gaming, and I'm not going to call out this game.
Yeah.
This gaming person, but we got a seat at the table, and I don't know what it is. They didn't go with us. They said we were their second choice, and I'm such a gamer with them. I'm almost 50, Damon. I have the PS4. I have the Xbox One. I got it all. And all I could see was, as a parent, I know people can't afford this stuff, Christmas or whatever.
Yeah.
You need this type of option. And I started giving, well, how would you sell it? So I started giving them little snippets. And then when they didn't pick us, I just said, I don't want to see you guys using any of my stuff on there. But I thought I could see it ahead of time, that what a great tool it would have been, not just for customers like that would use the option, but to bring more customers in, and now they're in stores.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that's a good point, because, and it's definitely something we can talk about it on an upcoming episode and just go over it, because, cell phones are $1,000 now.
Yes.
It's $1,000.
Yep.
It's like, you can, that's a nice bit of furniture. That's a nice whatever, and it's no different than what you're doing.
It's a small little thing like this that costs, you're just going, what? And if you read the article, we had that shooting here in Noblesville.
Yeah.
Scariest time of my life. And I remember when we all got home and we're all crying, it's highly emotional, because you don't know about your kids. I have,
Yeah.
you know, my 3 children in 3 different schools. 2 of those schools, well, one of the schools, the high school actually had a suspected shooter in there. The West had, that's where it was done. Like there was a shooting in there, and the teacher in there was great. He was a hero and saved all the kids from it. And then East was where our other. But you're talking about every single person in Noblesville, like calling 911 at once, going, "I want my kid." That's what we were all like. And like 5 hours later, everybody's getting their kid. But we were highly emotional when we got home. My oldest daughter was there, and I remember my daughter's my 17-year-old now, but the next one, she her phone wasn't even, she couldn't even call out. So I remember I just told my wife, I'm getting phones for everybody. That's it. I'm done. I don't ever want to be in that situation where, you know, Logan, Sierra, none of them couldn't call us. Yeah. And I don't ever want to see that. So it was scary, but I won't at another time. That'd be great.
Time for that.
We went an hour and a half.
Yeah, it goes because there's a lot of things we can talk about, and you're a great guy to talk to, Joe.
Thanks.
Joseph, excuse me. I always say Joe.
Call me. Listen, that's what the moniker is. Joe the finance guy. It's
Joe the finance guy, so that's what I say. But anyway, it's been great having you on today, Joseph.
Thank you.
And you know, if people need alternative financing for their retail or e-commerce, you're the guy to talk to. I mean, hands down. And you've demonstrated that, and you demonstrate that every day. And it's fun to talk to you about, get to know you better, get to build this relationship between the two of us, and let you build a relationship, let us build a relationship with the world around us too. So have a great rest of your night. And we will sign off here, and you know, you and I will be talking in the morning.
Yeah, so. I know we will.
Have a great evening.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Bye.